Welcome to the 24th episode of Jack's Corner. I'm gonna put these episodes out more often. No more of these week-long hiatuses. I'm Jacob. I got CatBit, and we got a new person on this show today. Not new to the channel, but new to the Jack's Corner multiverse. Introduce yourself, Nessie.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Game Theory, the only show that does weird copyrighted crossovers. I'm your local resident sea creature, Nessie D, and today we're going to be talking about a movie.
I'm CatBit, and I'm on Jack's Corner again.
Yeah, you're like our other regular besides random. Anytime I have a topic, I just get one of you bozos.
You better not be insulted. He's your biggest fan.
Look, I say bozo out of love, and he probably like makes fun of me behind my back, so it's all in good fun. So today we're going to be talking about this 2000 animated adaptation of Tom Sawyer where they're all furries because, I don't know, I guess that just works better in animation. And I knew about this movie for a while now, but you guys never heard of it before.
Well, I don't know, watching the first 10 minutes of it, I feel like I might have seen it somewhere. I don't know, it just felt really familiar to me, but you're also talking to an actual furry, so maybe I must have seen it either in my childhood or someone showed it to me somewhere. I don't remember.
This was actually my first time actually hearing about this movie because I remember when we were discussing about watching Secret Nim 2 for Comfy Couch TV, Jacob, you brought this movie up and just kept asking you for a while what this movie was about, and then this week I actually saw it in. Yeah, it's something.
Yeah, it sure is something.
Sit down.
Yeah. So I wrote down a bunch of notes, but I wrote them down really quickly at work a couple hours beforehand because I procrastinated with this a lot. So first thing I wanted to get out of the way, I want to say they only do this because that's what the source material is, but the main antagonist is just a straight up racist caricature. I'm sorry. Like, they even call him technically a slur. Again, I think it's just because of the source material, because there is a book that is called that. I'm not going to bring up the name. I feel weird saying it and I don't like it, but it's straight up early baby racism.
In this adaptation, they actually change his name from Injun Joe to Injurin Joe. So they kind of sanitized it.
I did not.
Wow.
Way. They did a god-awful job of trying to sanitize it because that is just no. Like, I didn't hear that at all.
So N-word Joe wasn't a Family Guy joke then?
No, Injun Joe. That was like the name of the character in the book, and he was like the bad guy. But actually, I'm surprised like they even showed him like murder that one character. He like throws him and he hits like a gravestone, and that character he killed is just dead. Like they say he got murdered. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
I can't believe this baby movie actually showed an actual murder.
They were gonna show a hanging too. This isn't like a Disney film. No, this is like a low-budget direct-to-video film, and they're showing like hangings and murders.
Yeah,
that's pretty hardcore, man.
When Joe dies, his corpse is literally right there. When the conclusion finally happens at the end of the movie, they're all completely ignoring the fact that there's a corpse right there. You know?
But he was a bad guy in a murder, so it's like... Actually, I think, like, his death in the movie is tamer compared to, like, book, but it's been a while since I've actually read the book since, like, high school, so I can't really tell you.
I never read Tom Sawyer, but I did read Huck Finn. I just don't remember all that much about it, to be honest, so...
You know, watching this movie, I was able to get the gist of the book, even though, like, it's still, like, an adaptation. It's not going to be, like, as accurate.
Yeah.
You know what, I'm just going to get this out of the way about my thoughts of this movie, because I don't know if you're going to like this, but I thought this was a perfectly fine movie. It was not really anything too outrageous or bad. I was actually kind of surprised that I thought it was kind of charming, and some parts were funny, like the slapstick. I don't know why. Maybe it's because, like, Secret Nim 2 was so bad, like, anything else is good by comparison. So, yeah, Tom Sawyer, this is a decent movie. Maybe not the best in the world.
Yeah, no, honestly, it, again, apart from the blatant racism and the second antagonist theory, which I will get into later, it has a budget. And I hate that it has a budget, because I don't think it deserved the budget that it has. Because if you look at it, it's not bad. It's animated pretty well. The backgrounds are surprisingly really pleasing to look at, and like you can tell who is who. There's pure character design clarity. You know which character is which.
Yeah.
That was our favorite thing about Secret of NIMH 2, the backgrounds.
Yeah.
I guess for me, though, it's like I was a lot more negative towards this movie.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, no, because, like, I wasn't having a good day when I saw this, and then, like, I see this at night, and just like, well, my night got worse, but I guess I want to bring up my little subjects of discussion. The songs feel like filler, in my opinion. They feel like they're just trying to, like, fulfill a runtime.
I'm going to have to disagree with you there. Let me explain. Now, I recently read The Secret Life of the American Musical, and it goes over every single, like, almost formulaic step that some of the best American musicals do, and I was noticing a lot of similarities between the songs in Tom Sawyer and those story beats. Now, that being said, the problem that I had with them is most of these songs, the majority of them, they're supposed to move the plot along. And the issue that a lot of these songs have is that they don't do that. You know, a great example to compare this to is something like Disney with The Little Mermaid. You know, you have your opening number, you have an I Want song, you have a love ballad, you have a villain song, and you have a song that's just all noise. Which, again, noise songs aren't bad. The point of them is they're supposed to get your audience, you know, back into the story. And the problem with that, it doesn't accomplish it. There's not enough oomph in those songs to warrant any sort of real illicit emotion to it.
I feel like for me, though, on my end, it's like when I was listening to these songs, it's like some of these songs had some really poor melody, in my opinion.
They were
like
songs were probably
they were structured really badly, and like the amount of songs that they placed, like there was one song, then to the next one, on to the next one, then story, and then next song. It just, the way they placed the songs all over this movie, to me, it feels like filler, in my opinion.
Now, I think I have two theories with this. The first one is that all of the songs are clearly very country, they're very Western, so I have a theory that they're doing the same thing that, say, Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer does, where they have this contractual obligation where they have to put these songs in somewhere in the story, and they had no choice not to put those in. You know what I mean? My other theory, you know, filler could be another thing, but my biggest issue is they don't know where to put them. Again, in Little Mermaid, all of the songs are spaced out enough, so it's not annoying. You know, Frozen is actually guilty of that. They, like, the first, I think an entire third of the movie is just nothing but songs, and that can be really irritating to a lot of people. You know, this has the same issue. You know, they're trying to follow the musical formula, but they're not putting enough effort. Well, I don't want to say they're not putting enough effort into it, but the way that it's written as a musical, it's not written as a musical, it's written as something trying to be a musical. And there can be a huge difference between the two, you know?
Yeah.
Secret of NIMH 2 was a much worse musical.
Honestly, I would watch anything than Secret of NIMH 2.
Never give up.
I guess, like, another, I don't know if I can consider this, like, nitpicking or whatnot. I wasn't really a fan of, like, these songs whenever, like, they would appear on scene on, like, the movie, because, like, the art styles would just, like, randomly clash with one another when they just get into the song numbers. Like, the song where they were singing about how good friends Tom Sawyer and, like, Huck Yuck Fox were. The background, like, it just felt so simplified compared to, like, the rest of the movie, or the beginning song. And I feel like we might discuss this later with how the characters are introduced. It's, like, the song where we just, like, see Tom Sawyer, how he wants to be an adventurer or something. For no reason, the character designs just have this stick figure look. And then afterwards, like, they never go back to this look.
Maybe that was, like, part of his
another
dream.
thing that kind of bothers me with this.
Part in the film where he was dreaming.
I want to say that's a visual cue to the audience saying, hey, this is a dream, this isn't the reality of the story that we're in. The other thing is that they are straight up copying Disney. See, in the 90s, and especially if you really, like, study a lot of Disney Renaissance movies, all of them were following a musical formula. Aladdin, Lion King, Beauty and the Beast, you know, everything was following that formula. And a lot of 90s movies that had a lower budget and weren't affiliated with Disney, they're going to follow suit fully because that's just the trend. That's just what's in at the time. You know what I mean? So again, that's how you know half of it was just catching in on a trend. The other thing is that these songs don't tell us, they don't tell us all that much, if anything. The intro song, for example, that's supposed to be the song that gets the audience invested in the world that we're in. And the issue with that is that it's doing a whole other world, i.e. the dreamscape in his head, and we don't get to experience anything about the South. We're, first we're at an island and it's a pirate adventure. Then we're facing a dragon and we're near a castle. Then we're out in the middle of the Old West and he's a cowboy. And that doesn't yes, that tells us about the character, but it doesn't tell us about the world or anyone else he interacts with. This is just literally in his head, and that's why a lot of these songs don't work. They're only giving you a vague idea of what they're supposed to be, and nothing's really all that concrete. Again, the story doesn't progress, nothing happens. My main issue with this is that they introduce a lot of things that don't really need to be introduced, and there's just so much of it that they just don't have time to cram it all into an hour and a half. That's why I have a theory that it's an hour and a half and not, say, 2 or 3 hours, because that would mean a bigger budget. That would be the animators would be working a lot more, and, deadlines, this, that, production, the other. So yeah. I say, if anything, it's too short. But again, story-wise, a lot of these characters don't really matter. You could cut like 5 or 6 of the supporting characters, and the story wouldn't change.
I don't really see this as much of a narrative as more like a bunch of like stories, and maybe like there's some narratives that are more important than others, because I think that's like what the original book was. It was just a bunch of like separate stories in the life of this country kid. The movie was going for that and did a fairly decent job. The songs they're pretty pointless. I don't really give a shit about them.
I guess from my experience, because again, I never read the original book, nor did I care. I mean, my only introduction to Tom Sawyer was the fucking Fairly Odd Parents episode.
Oh my fucking god! I wanted to bring that up. Tom Sawyer, that's the worst portrayal of a fictional character I've ever seen in any show. Because why do they make him the villain? Why does he have to go into these books and change the titles to some dumb punny name? And why does he hate Missouri? What did Missouri do to him? Did they call him a dumbass?
Hey, take it from someone who actually went there and visited somebody. It's a pretty terrible place, let me tell you.
I'd rather live there than California.
For me though, the movie's plot felt incredibly aimless in my opinion, because again, I never read.
You could say the book was aimless too, but I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Twain is this titan of American literature, so criticizing his work would probably brand you a heretic.
Well, I mean, the thing about the story is that it's in a book, and the thing with books is that you can take all the time in the world to elaborate, to world build, to tell us who these characters are, what they're doing, what their motivations are, and to further the plot along. Not that I think Huck Finn had that much of a plot, but even still. That being said, with an animation, you only have so much time to introduce so many concepts, Again, at the beginning, before we even have the dream sequence, we have this number where they're at a church, and it's very soul Motown. And then all of a sudden, Joe shows up, and he just steals the donation box, and then he just leaves. Again, it's just not enough time, and we never see the clergy or anybody who works at the church again until the scene with the funeral. So you just wasted the intro song on characters and a place that we're not even going to go to until halfway through the movie, Yeah, the only thing it really introduces is that, the town is nicey goody two-shoes, the backgrounds look pretty, and we have our main villain, and that's it.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that front. It's just, and I guess that's another thing that I want to bring up with this movie. It's just the way the characters are introduced feels forced.
I never really thought of it as forced. I mean, that intro's kind of just meh, but I don't think world building's really that important to something like this.
Yeah.
For me, though, it's the way they do it is the characters just say their name and what they do. I guess there's one thing I kind of want to praise Secret and Nim is that it kind of didn't do that. I said kinda.
Secret and Nim too. Man, those characters I couldn't even like give a shit about them. They were like one note. At least here it felt like they wanted to make them interesting, but like I don't know, there was maybe some that could have been more important, but they were just kind of at the wayside.
Yeah, a lot of the characters felt pointless.
I don't know, like if in the book they're more important, but I'm pretty sure they probably aren't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. What else did I write down? Oh, okay. So this is more of a technical thing. How come these characters, they're portrayed as 10, but they act like they're 15 and they sound like they're 20?
That's something like a lot of shows do with like kid characters, like, you know, Kids Next Door, or like...
Yeah, but at least there's an attempt to make them sound like children. Or they do it in a way where, like, I don't want to say they seem old enough, but like there's a suspension of disbelief with their voices.
Yeah.
And with these characters, especially with Tom, because we spend so much time with him, I feel like he's gonna like ride a horse into the sunset or something. I don't know.
A lot of like the actors in this movie were like country music singers.
Even Starfire.
No, she was like a professional voice actress. I don't know if that was her singing, but hey, did you know Betty White is in this movie?
You know?
Oh yeah, wasn't she the aunt?
I was wondering who the voice of the aunt was. I almost thought it was Angela Lansbury, but I'm like, wait a minute, no, she's British. Why would she be in a movie like this? And I was trying to figure out who the hell it was that voiced her. And thank you, Jake, for pointing that out. While we're on the subject of voice actors, D. Bradley Baker. Okay, his animal sounds are fine. I don't have any issue with them. When he tries to sound like a child, it's so grating. I hate it. And I can immediately point out when it's him because he just does not do a good job. And I don't understand why casting coaches always cast him for background children. I hate it. I can't stand his voice. He does a garbage job. And again, this is nothing against him as a person. I'm sure he's a great guy. His animal sounds are fantastic. You know, even the stupid frog in this movie was semi-decent. But for God's sake, stop casting him as a child.
I love D. Bradley Baker. I loved like hearing him go from like realistic frog sounds to like goofy screaming where he's like, ah! Man, like, he is one of the best voice actors of our generation, along with, I don't know, Tom Kenny and Eric Bauza. He needs to, like, get more respect.
I want Eric Bauza to get more attention in the industry. I really like his voice acting. But yeah, no, it's like, and I guess this is similar to what you were discussing earlier. Whenever, like, some of these characters are just breaking a song, like, I remember, like, Hindu Walsh Cat, like, she was just, like, she was talking like this, and then when she starts singing, she just goes like, I'm singing about a love song.
I still can't believe like she gets cast in this as the love interest, and in Secret Nim 2, she's the love interest, and I think these were like some of her first voice acting roles.
They were her first voice acting roles.
By like her Wikipedia page, she did like live action before.
Wow, no joke. When I was actually watching the movie while like doing like a piece for a friend of mine's, like I see this scene and I just burst out into laughter because of how fucking jarring it was. Ay. What's another thing that we can discuss about this movie?
So I have a theory. What's the name of the girl with the red hair and the pigtails? Because I keep calling her Anne of Green Gables because that's just the character she looks like to me.
Amy Lawrence. By the way, Hindu Walsh doesn't do the singing voice for the cat.
Yeah, I know. I'm just saying to like use someone else for the singing voice.
Yeah. I have a theory with this Ashley Lawrence or whatever her name is. I have a theory that she's actually the real antagonist here because, like, think about it. The only real song that we get where characters actually express their feelings, at least in my opinion, was that weird love ballad between the two girl cats or whatever. And it's already been implied earlier that she was in a relationship with Tom before this Southern Belle cat showed up, you know?
Yeah.
So if anything... Oh god, I can't believe I'm going to say this. If anything, it feels more like a Yander simulator than anything else to me.
Nessie, go to the car.
Man, like, it feels like they didn't do much with that love triangle. They probably should have, like, done more, but I don't know if
That's another thing that kind of felt forced, in my opinion, with this movie.
I didn't really care. I don't say things are forced. I'm not
There's also that, or like that scene, like the storm in the river. It's like, that was way too melodramatic for its own good, in my opinion.
I don't know.
Yeah, for a minute, like, are we in the ocean? Aren't we supposed to be in, like, a land, like, on the Mississippi River right now?
I'm pretty sure, like,
why?
its water levels, like, rise frequently. I don't know. I mean, this was probably before, like, irrigation came to that area. I mean, a dam. They built a dam.
But you're not gonna get waves that high, that crazy, when you have land that's parallel to each other. You just don't. Take it from somebody who lives 10 minutes from the ocean. You just don't get that in a landlocked water system, you know?
Yeah.
So I agree. It was it was too melodramatic, but that just took me out of the scene, you know?
Yeah, I agree.
So weird. Like, I must be the only one that doesn't care about, like, nitpicks and shit.
I guess, like, one thing before we start having, like, am I in the wrong to say that I fucking hate the Snitch Cat? Like, I swear to God, I fucking hate him so much.
No.
Honestly, to me, not only does he look related to the teacher, but, like, if you look closely at his hair, he almost kind of looks like somebody whose name I'm not going to mention because, you know, I don't want this getting taken off of YouTube or whatever, but he looked like a certain dictator from the 1940s. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Wait, how can he be related to the teacher if the teacher's a chicken?
Yeah, exactly.
I hate this fucking kid so much. I want to shove him in a dishwasher so badly and then throw that dish.
I can't believe he's related to Charlie Chaplin.
I want to throw that dishwasher out the window and have it get like swung back and forth like a tennis rack by like traffic. And then just like just have it explode in the middle of the road. Like, I hate, and then have vultures like pick his body apart. Like, I genuinely hate this character. Fuck the Snitch Cat. I hate him so much. And like if I ever see someone like him, I'm gonna shove him in the dishwasher.
But CatBit, I thought you loved it when like douchebag characters didn't get redeemed.
Yeah, but that's only for like modern day cartoons. Like, the way it was structured here is like really annoying. The way they did it just really, I don't know what it was, but it just got on my nerves for no reason.
He's the snitch archetype. Like, he's snitch archetype incarnate.
He literally says he's a proud snitch.
I like those asshole characters who don't get their comeuppance. I just fucking hate snitches. That's the thing.
But he's a snitch and an asshole.
Yeah, but he's a snitch, so that automatically makes me hate him. Snitch. Remember, Jacob, snitches get stitches, and snitches are bitches.
God, fuck.
I guess we made it to the lightning round, right?
I'm new to this. How does this work?
This is like an introduction to the lightning round where we're going to be talking about how if this movie is somehow worse than Secret Nim 2. Or
I'm not making this a permanent feature on my show.
Okay.
So, Jacob, which one would you rather watch again, this or Nim 2?
Tom Sawyer, because Nim 2 was fucking insulting. And like, when I say like a movie, I don't want to watch a movie again, it's either like it's got to be really boring or just like so infuriating even I can't find any good in it.
Oh, you would hate the Jersey Boys movie then, but that's for another time.
You know, for the longest time I didn't realize that Jersey Boys was about Frankie Valli.
Why would you say Nim 2 was like really infuriating in your opinion?
Well, there are many reasons. The animation was just boring. They ignore like Mrs. Frisbee's contributions in the first film. That whole like prophecy and chosen one shit with the fucking boomer rats like turning on him like on the flip of a dime was just obnoxious. Martin somehow like becoming evil after like getting taken away off screen was just really like stupid. And then like they defeat him by knocking books on him and he's unconscious, and the girl rat, she seems to be more proactive and they just ignore her too. She's like, they like her and like Timmy like fall in fucking love way too quickly. Oh, Caterpillar credit card. Let's not forget that diarrhea. Okay, what else is there? Let's see. Timmy's not a great character. He has a shitty singing voice as an adult. Yeah, thanks a lot, Karate Kid. The songs are terrible. I don't think there's like, they honestly feel random. There's either fat rats or thin rats. I don't understand why like that to make rats thin. Okay, also, if you're American, you're good. If you're British, you're evil. And yeah, there's a lot for me to hate about it. Tom Sawyer's like The songs are just okay. Okay, they're not that great. They're pretty pointless. And yeah, maybe some of the characters are like lame, but I can't really hate this movie. It's for kids. I'm not gonna like shit on it that hardly if it did a decent job like entertaining them. Plus, at least this feels like movie length, while like Secret and Nim 2, that was like barely over an hour.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know what I was going through that day, but it's like I found that, I mean, granted, like Nim 2 is still an awful movie, but it's like for me, my opinion of Tom Sawyer was a lot more, I guess, negative than both of your opinions on it.
Yeah. I mean, I would probably watch Sawyer, honestly, just for the fact that it looks pretty. But I will say this much: if I was the target demographic for both of these movies, and if I saw them back to back, honestly, I would assume that they were the same movie just because they look so similar. Am I wrong on that? Am I wrong? Because I don't think I'm wrong. I don't feel like I'm wrong.
Not necessarily. They are pretty similar looking, but I guess Tom Sawyer looked better.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be shocked if like they were made by the same team at MGN, honestly.
It's pretty much the same team. I mean, Hendon Walsh is in both movies.
I guess, what's our final consensus on this? I was like kind of negative when I was talking about this movie.
I wouldn't really mind, like, I wouldn't call this movie perfect. I should kind of apologize that I was kind of trying to defend this, just because, like, my experience wasn't as bad as, like, either of yours.
Personally,
Yeah.
I think it tried, but I don't think it tried hard enough. I don't want to say half-assed per se, but personally I think they really should have done a rewrite with the script and really thought about more of the choices that they did as opposed to what they actually, whipped up. It's not a bad movie. It seems kind of harmless, minus the heavily implied racism. Other than that, if I had like a 6-year-old cousin and I needed a movie to just throw on, the TV for them to watch for an hour, I'd probably throw that on and not really think much of it.
I say for me though, it's like I think both this movie and Nim 2 were terrible, but like I would rather watch this one again over Secret Nim 2 because this movie has like some good out of context moments here and there. Like I'm shocked like one organic accounts on Twitter haven't like gone after this movie and used like clips for out of context.
I like the slapstick, especially with the teacher and the school bell.
Lol. I don't know. Somebody like spent the past 4 months just like watching shitty direct-to-video movies. It's like I've kind of gone to my breaking. I was in a boiling point, and this movie was like the tip of the iceberg for making me want to like watch something good again.
Oh, when we're done recording, you should tell him about all the direct-to-video movies you've seen.
Oh my fucking god.
Oh dear.
So is this the end of Jack's Corner?
I believe so. Sounds like it.
I guess. I want to thank both CatBit and Nessie coming on here and for like dealing with my ass for suggesting this movie that they clearly thought was just meh.
So Jacob, I have a question. What's up next for Jack's Corner?
Well, I'm glad you asked. I'm hoping that by next week, or I don't know, by the time like this comes out, I'll already like have plans to like make another episode and record it. So it's gonna be on shitty Scooby-Doo movies.
Aw, yeah.
Oh dear.
Yeah, you get to hear me bitch about Scooby-Doo and Arabian Nights. It's gonna be horrible.
Sounds absolutely delightful. I look forward to it.
Yes, thank you. Anyway, this is Jacob, and it's my world, and we're all living in it. Deuces.